is Evelyn. I am 22 years old. For my whole life, I have lived in this small, quiet house with my mother. The house has blue walls and a little garden in the front. My mother loves her flowers. She spends every morning outside, talking to her roses. She says they are her best friends. I think maybe I am her other best friend. It has always been just the two of us. Just me and my mom. My life is simple. I work at a small bookstore in town. I like the smell of old books. I like the quiet sound of pages turning. It is a peaceful job. After work, I come home. My mother and I have dinner together. We talk about our day. She tells me about her garden. I tell her about the books I sold. Then we watch a little television. And then we go to sleep. Every day is almost the same. I thought it was a good life, a safe life. My mother is a good mother. She always took care of me. She made me warm soup when I was sick. She helped me with my homework when I was a child. She always told me she loved me. Her love felt like a warm blanket. Safe, comfortable. I loved her too. I still do. But now everything is different. Now, when I look at her, I feel a strange mix of love and sadness, and a deep, deep confusion. Because my mother, the person I trusted most in the world, lied to me. She lied to me for 22 years. The lie was about my father. The story she told me was beautiful. It was like a story from one of the books in my store. My father's name was Daniel. He was a brave and wonderful man. He was a photographer. He traveled the world. He took pictures of amazing things. Mountains, deserts, crowded cities in faraway lands. My mother's eyes would shine when she talked about him. He was so full of life, Evelyn, she would say. He wanted to see everything, experience everything. We have one photo of him, just one. It sits on the mantelpiece in our living room. It is a beautiful photo, a man with kind eyes and a big smile. He is standing on a mountain. The sky behind him is bright blue. He looks strong, happy, free. I looked at that photo every day of my life. I would talk to him sometimes in my head. I would tell him about my day. I would ask him for advice. He was my hero, my perfect, faraway father. The story of his death was sad, but it was also heroic. My mother told me he was in a small village in the jungle. He was taking pictures of rare birds. There was a sudden flood. The river rose very fast. He saved a small child from the water, but the water was too strong. It took him away. He died a hero, saving someone's life. I was just a baby when it happened. I never got to meet him, but I was so proud to be his daughter. I was the daughter of a hero. My mother never married again. I had the perfect love, Evelyn, she would say, her eyes looking at the photo. No one could ever replace your father. I believed her. Our small world of two felt complete. We had the memory of a hero to protect us. It was a sad story, but it was our story, and I believed every word. I had no reason not to. Why would my mother lie about something so important? Last week, on a rainy Saturday, everything changed. My mother wanted to clean the attic. The attic is a dusty, forgotten place, full of old things, old furniture, old clothes, boxes and boxes of memories. We hadn't cleaned it in years. "It's time to make some space, Evelyn," my mother said. "Let's get rid of some of this old junk." I didn't want to. I wanted to sit and read my new book. But my mother insisted. So I put on an old shirt and went up the creaky wooden stairs to the attic. It was dark and smelled like dust and old paper. We started moving boxes. My mother was cheerful. She was humming a song. I was quiet. I just wanted to finish. After about an hour, my mother went downstairs to make us some tea. "I'll be right back," she called. I was left alone in the dusty quiet. I sat down on an old wooden trunk to rest. I saw a small box tucked away in a dark corner, behind a stack of old magazines. It was a simple cardboard box. It wasn't taped shut. It just had a loose lid. I don't know why, but I felt a pull towards it. A strange curiosity. I looked down the stairs. I couldn't hear my mother, I thought. It's probably just old papers. But I couldn't stop myself. I reached for the box. I pulled it out from the corner. It was heavier than I expected. I sat on the floor and put the box in my lap. My heart was beating a little faster. I felt like I was doing something wrong, something secret. I lifted the lid. Inside, there were papers. Lots of them. They were old and yellow. And there were letters. Bundles of letters tied together with faded blue ribbon. And underneath the letters, there was a small photo album. It was not like our other family albums. It was old, and the cover was worn. I picked up the photo album first. My hands were trembling a little. I opened it. The first page had a photo of my mother. She looked so young. Maybe my age. She was laughing. She looked incredibly happy. In the photo, she was with a man. He had his arm around her. He was smiling too. But it wasn't him. It wasn't the man from the mantelpiece. This man was different. He had dark, curly hair. He wore simple glasses. He looked kind, but he didn't look like a hero. He looked normal, ordinary. I turned the page. More photos. My mother and this same man. At a park, on a beach, in a small kitchen, cooking together. They looked in love. My stomach felt tight. Who was this man? Why did my mother have a whole album of pictures with him? Pictures I had never seen. Then I saw it. A photo near the back of the album. It was my mother. She was holding a baby. The baby was wrapped in a pink blanket. The baby was me. And next to her, with his hand on her shoulder, was the man with the curly hair. He was looking down at me. His smile was so gentle, so full of love. On the bottom of the photo, someone had written in messy handwriting, "Evelyn's first week. Our beautiful family. June 2003. The world stopped. My breath caught in my throat. June 2003. My birthday. Our beautiful family." My mind was spinning. This was not Daniel, the hero photographer. This was someone else. And he was there. He was there when I was born. He held me. He called me his daughter. I slammed the album shut. My hands were shaking badly now. I felt cold. I looked at the letters. I untied one of the ribbons. The letters were addressed to my mother. At our address, I opened one. The handwriting was the same as on the photo. I started to read. "My dearest Maria," it began. "My mother's name is Maria. I miss you. I miss my little Evelyn. Please let me see her. I know things are hard between us. I know I made mistakes. But she is my daughter. I love her. Just 1 hour. That's all I ask. Your loving, Robert." Robert, not Daniel. My head was pounding. I opened another letter. "Maria, why won't you answer my calls? It has been 6 months. I sent some money for Evelyn. It's not much. I lost the new job. But it's something. Please, don't keep her from me. I need to see my little girl." Another letter. "It has been a year now. A whole year since I saw her face. Does she look like me? Does she have my curly hair? I dream about her every night. I am trying to get my life together. For her. I am not drinking anymore. I promise. Please, Maria. Give me another chance. A chance to be a father." The letters went on and on. There were dozens of them. Pleading, begging. Some were angry. Some were sad. They were all from a man named Robert, a man who called himself my father, a man who was alive, who was here in this town, a man who wanted to see me. Tears were streaming down my face. I couldn't stop them. The beautiful story my mother had told me, it was a lie. A complete lie. My father wasn't a hero who died in a flood. He was a man named Robert, a man with problems, a man who lost his job, a man who drank, a man who my mother had cut out of my life completely. I heard my mother's footsteps on the stairs. "Evelyn, I have the tea," she called out cheerfully. I quickly wiped my tears. I stuffed the letters back into the box. I closed the lid. I shoved the box back into the dark corner. My whole body was shaking. I felt sick. She came into the attic, holding 2 cups of tea. She smiled at me. "Feeling better?" she asked. I couldn't look at her. I just nodded. Her smile. The same smile she always gave me. Did she smile like that when she was hiding this huge secret? When she was reading those letters from Robert and throwing them in a box to be forgotten? "I'm feeling a bit tired," I mumbled. "Can we finish this another day?" Her smile faded a little. "Oh, okay, sweetie, of course." I practically ran down the stairs. I went into my room and locked the door. I sat on my bed, my body trembling. I looked at myself in the mirror. Who was I? My whole life, I was the daughter of Daniel, the hero. But I wasn't. I was the daughter of Robert, the man who made mistakes, the man who my mother erased. All the pieces started to fit together. Why we never visited my father's family. They live very far away, in another country, she always said. It's too difficult to travel there. Why there were no other photos of him. He didn't like having his picture taken, she would say. A strange thing for a photographer, All the little lies. They built a huge wall. A wall I never even saw until now. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The words from the letters echoed in my head. I miss my little Evelyn. Does she have my curly hair? I touched my hair. It was curly, just like the man in the photo. The next day was Sunday. It was the hardest day of my life. I had to sit at the breakfast table with my mother. I had to pretend everything was normal. She chatted about her plans for the garden. I just nodded. I couldn't speak. The words felt like stones in my throat. Every time I looked at her, I felt a wave of anger and a deep, crushing sadness. How could she lie to me about my own father, my own life? I knew I had to talk to her. I had to confront her. But I was so scared. Scared of her anger. Scared of her tears. Scared of what the truth would do to us. To our small, safe world of two. But I couldn't live with the lie anymore. The lie felt like poison inside me. I had to know the real story. I had to know everything. I decided to wait until the evening, after dinner, when we were usually sitting in the living room, right in front of the photo of the man who was not my father. I needed that photo to be there. I needed her to see it while she told me the truth. My heart was pounding all day. At the bookstore, I couldn't focus. I kept dropping books. My boss asked if I was feeling okay. I just said I had a headache. The lie came easily. Maybe, I thought with a sick feeling, I was my mother's daughter after all. That evening, dinner was silent. I could barely eat. My mother kept looking at me with worried eyes. "Evelyn, what's wrong? You've been so quiet all day," she said. Her voice was full of concern. The concern of a loving mother. It made me feel even worse. "We need to talk," I said. My voice came out as a whisper. "After dinner." She looked scared. "Okay," she said slowly. We cleared the table in silence. Then we went to the living room. She sat in her usual armchair. I stood by the mantelpiece. I picked up the photo of Daniel. I held it in my hands. My hero, my lie. "Who is this man?" I asked. My voice was shaking, but it was clear. My mother looked confused. "What do you mean, sweetie?" "That's your father, Daniel." "No," I said, "he's not." The color drained from her face. She looked pale. "Evelyn, don't be silly. Of course he is. We've talked about him 1,000 times. I went into the attic yesterday," I said, my eyes locked on hers. "While you were making tea, I found a box with letters, and a photo album." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She looked terrified, like a trapped animal. She knew exactly what I was talking about. "Who is Robert?" I asked. The name felt strange on my tongue. "Why does he call me his daughter?" My mother started to cry. Not loud sobs, just silent tears rolling down her cheeks. She shook her head. "You shouldn't have looked in that box, Evelyn," she whispered. "Those things were private." Private, my voice grew louder. I was angry now. The fear was turning into rage. My My father is not private. My life is not a secret you can hide in a box. Who is he? Tell me the truth. She flinched. She looked so small and fragile in her big chair. Part of me wanted to hug her, to tell her it was okay. But the other part, the angry, hurt part, needed answers. Please, Mom, I said, my voice breaking. Just tell me the truth, for once. She took a deep, shaky breath. She looked at the floor. She couldn't look at me. And then she started to talk. And the real story, the ugly, messy, painful story, finally came out. Her voice was low and weak. His name is Robert, she began. He is your father. The words hung in the air. The truth, it was real. We met when I was very young, younger than you are now. I thought I loved him, and he loved me, at first. She told me everything. They were happy for a while. They got a small apartment. They were excited to have a baby, to have me. The man in the photos, the smiling man with curly hair, was my father. But things changed. He lost his job. He couldn't find another one. He got sad, depressed, and he started to drink. Not just a little, a lot. He changed, Evelyn, my mother whispered. He wasn't the man I fell in love with anymore. He was angry all the time. He would shout. The money was always a problem. We fought all the time. I was so scared. She said that when I was born, things got a little better for a short time. He was so happy to have a daughter. He was gentle with me. He would sing to me. But the problems didn't go away. The drinking got worse. He started disappearing for days, leaving my mother alone with a new baby and no money. One day, she said, her voice cracking, when you were almost 1 year old, he just left. He packed a bag. He said he couldn't do it anymore. He said he was a failure, a bad father, a bad husband. He walked out the door, and he didn't come back. I stood there, frozen, listening to this story of a man who was nothing like the hero on the mountain. This was a story of a sad, broken man, a man who abandoned his child. But the letters, I said, he wrote letters. He wanted to see me. He said you wouldn't let him. My mother finally looked up at me. Her eyes were red and full of pain. A pain I was only just beginning to understand. Yes, she said, he tried. A few months after he left, he started calling, writing letters. He wanted to come back. He wanted to see you. But I was so angry, Evelyn, so hurt. How could I trust him? How could I let him back into your life, just to disappoint you, to hurt you? I remembered you as a baby, crying when he would shout. I couldn't let that happen again. So she made a decision, a terrible, life-changing decision. She told him to stay away. She changed her phone number. She sent his letters back, unopened. After a while, he stopped trying. And she was alone, a single mother with a baby girl. It was so hard, she said, crying openly now. I had to work 2 jobs. We had no money. I was always tired, always worried, and everyone asked about your father. Where is Evelyn's dad, the neighbors, the other mothers at the park? I was so ashamed to tell them the truth, to say he left us. So she created a new truth. One day, a friend gave her a magazine, a travel magazine. There was a beautiful photo in it, a photo of a handsome photographer on a mountain. The caption said his name was Daniel, and an idea formed in her head. A crazy idea, but it felt right to her at the time. She cut out the picture. She put it in a frame. She created the story, the brave photographer, the world traveler, the hero who died saving a child. I thought it was better for you, she sobbed. I wanted you to have a father you could be proud of, a father who was a hero, not one who was broken, who left you. I did it to protect you, Evelyn. I swear. I did it all out of love. I sank to the floor. My legs couldn't hold me anymore. I just sat there, on the rug, my head in my hands. She did it to protect me. She did it out of love. But it didn't feel like love. It felt like a betrayal. She didn't protect me. She lied to me. She stole my real father from me. Maybe he was broken. Maybe he was a mess. But he was mine. He was real. And I never even got the chance to know him. The whole world felt wrong. My house felt wrong. My mother's face looked like the face of a stranger. The silence in the room was heavy, filled with 22 years of lies. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I loved my mother. But in that moment, I also hated her for what she had done. I couldn't trust her. How could I ever trust her again? The foundation of my whole life was a lie, and the person who built it was sitting right in front of me, crying. We were both broken. Our small, safe world of two was shattered into a million pieces. The days that followed were the strangest of my life. I lived in the same house as my mother, but it felt like we were ghosts. We moved around each other, avoiding eye contact. The air was thick with things we weren't saying. I would eat breakfast before she woke up. I would stay late at the bookstore, just so I wouldn't have to go home. Home didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a stage where a play had just ended. And now, all the actors were tired and sad. My mother tried to talk to me a few times. She would knock softly on my bedroom door. "Evelyn, can we talk?" she would ask. Her voice was small and hopeful. But I couldn't. I just couldn't. "I'm tired," I would say. Or, "I have a headache." The excuses felt like tiny walls I was building between us. I was so confused. A part of me understood her. I imagined her, a young woman, alone and scared. I imagined her shame and her fear. I understood why she wanted to create a better story. A story without pain or abandonment. But the other part of me, the part that was a daughter, felt so deeply wounded. She hadn't just lied about my father. She had made all the decisions for me. She decided that an imaginary hero was better than a real, flawed father. She didn't give me a choice. She took away my chance to know half of myself. I spent hours in my room, looking at the photos from the album. The photo of my father, Robert, looking down at me as a baby. His smile was so real. so full of love. Was he really a bad man? Or was he just a man who made mistakes? A man who was struggling? I would never know. Because of her, the anger was like a fire inside me. It kept me warm on those cold, silent nights, but it was also exhausting. I felt tired all the time, a deep, heavy tiredness in my bones. I felt lost. My past was a lie, so what did that make my present? Who was I, really? I wasn't the brave hero's daughter. I was the daughter of a man who left. It felt shameful. It felt like his mistakes were now part of me. I needed to know more. The curiosity was a constant ache. Was Robert still alive? Did he still live in this town? Did he ever think of me? The questions spun in my head over and over. I knew my mother probably didn't know. Or if she did, she wouldn't tell me. I was on my own. One evening after work, I took one of the letters from the box. It had his full name, Robert Miller. It was a common name, but it was a start. I went to the library, not my bookstore, but the big public library downtown. It felt safer, more anonymous. I sat at a computer in the corner. My hands were shaking as I typed his name into the search bar. I didn't find much at first. There were many Robert Millers in the country. But then I added the name of our town, and a few things popped up. An old address from years ago. A small news article about a local company that had closed down. He was listed as a former employee. It was the company my mother said he worked for before he lost his job. It felt strange, like being a detective in my own life. I found a few more public records, and then I found it, an address. Not too far from here, in an older part of town. Was it his address? Was he still there? My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would break. What would I do? Could I just go there? Knock on the door? What would I say? Hello, I think I might be your daughter, the one you haven't seen in 21 years. It sounded crazy. It felt impossible. I closed the computer. I felt overwhelmed. I walked home slowly in the dark. The streetlights made long shadows on the sidewalk. I felt like a shadow myself, not a real person, just a collection of secrets and lies. When I got home, my mother was waiting in the living room. She had made me a cup of tea. It was sitting on the coffee table, getting cold. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. There were dark circles under her eyes. Evelyn, she said, her voice quiet. We can't go on like this. This silence is killing me. It's killing us. I didn't answer. I just stood by the door. I know you're angry, she continued. You have every right to be angry. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was young and stupid and scared. And I made a terrible mistake. A mistake I have lived with every single day. Tears started to well up in her eyes. But I am still your mother, she said. And I love you more than anything in this world. This lie, it came from a place of love. A broken, wrong place. But love. Can you see that? Even a little. I looked at her. Really looked at her. I saw my mother. The woman who read me bedtime stories. The woman who held my hand on the first day of school. The woman who worked so hard to give me a good life. And I saw a woman who was drowning in her own regret. My anger started to fade, just a little. It was replaced by a huge wave of sadness. Sadness for her. Sadness for me. Sadness for the father I never knew. We were all broken by this. I don't know what to do, I whispered, and the words were true. I felt completely lost. I don't know how to be your daughter anymore. I don't know who I am. You are Evelyn, she said softly. My smart, kind, wonderful daughter. That has never been a lie. That is the truest thing in the world. We stood there in the quiet living room. The photo of Daniel was gone from the mantelpiece. She had taken it down. That one small action meant more than anything. It was a start, an admission that the story was over. The next few weeks didn't magically get better. Trust, once it's broken, is like a shattered mirror. You can try to put the pieces back together, but the cracks are always there. You can never see the reflection in the same way again. That's how I felt about my mother. I loved her, but the perfect, trusting image I had of her was gone forever. I kept thinking about the address I found, the possibility of my father being just a few miles away. It was a thought that wouldn't leave me alone. I knew I couldn't ignore it. I had to do something. For myself. Not for my mother, not for him, but for me. I needed some kind of truth. My own truth. I talked to my mother about it. It was one of the hardest conversations we ever had. I told her I found an address. I told her I was thinking of going there. I saw the fear in her eyes, the fear of what I might find, the fear of being replaced, the fear of me getting hurt all over again. What if he's not a good person, Evelyn? She said, her voice trembling. What if he hurts you? And what if he's not? I replied. What if he's just a man who wants to meet his daughter? He's a part of me, Mom. You can't erase that. I need to know. She saw the determination in my eyes. She finally nodded, a tear rolling down her cheek. Okay, she whispered, but please be careful. I never did go to that address. I thought about it every day. I even drove down the street once. I saw the small, run-down apartment building, and I felt scared. I realized I wasn't ready. Maybe I would never be ready, and maybe that was okay. The important thing wasn't finding him. The important thing was that I could choose. The choice was mine now, not my mother's. That felt like a small kind of freedom. I knew I couldn't stay in that house anymore. It was filled with too many ghosts, too many lies. I loved my mother, but I needed space to breathe. Space to figure out who I was, away from her and her big, protective, damaging love. I found a small apartment above the bakery in town. It wasn't much, just a room and a tiny kitchen. But it was mine. I used the money I had saved from my job at the bookstore. When I told my mother I was moving out, she cried. But she didn't try to stop me. I think she understood. Packing my things was hard. I was packing up my whole childhood, a childhood that was built on a beautiful, tragic lie. I left most of it behind, but I took one thing from the box in the attic. I took the photo of my mother and father holding me as a baby. Our beautiful family, it said. It was a picture of a family that never got the chance to be. But it was real. For a moment, it was real. And it was mine. Now I live in my small apartment. I can hear the sounds of the bakery in the morning. I still work at the bookstore. My life is still simple, but it feels different. It feels like my own. My mother and I, we are trying. We talk on the phone. We meet for coffee sometimes. It is not the same as before. It is awkward sometimes. There is a sadness between us that may never go away. I don't know if I can ever trust her completely again. The crack in the mirror is always there, but I am trying to understand, to forgive. Not for her, but for me. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only hurts you. I am learning that. I learned that parents are not perfect. They are just people. People who make mistakes. Big, life-changing mistakes. They do things they think are right, even when they are wrong. They do it out of a messy, complicated thing called love. I don't know what my future holds. Maybe one day I will be ready to find Robert. Maybe I won't. But I know that my life is my story to write now, not my mother's. If you are listening to this, and maybe your life is not what it seems, maybe you have secrets in your family, please know you are not alone. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be confused. Your feelings are real. They matter. Be brave enough to search for your own truth. It can be the scariest journey, but it is the only journey that leads back to yourself. It is hard, but you are strong. You can do this too. Keep going.